Hey everyone, we are here at the Luke 10 School in Leesburg, Florida, and these are some of our students that are currently in our Luke 10 School. And we do a lot of outreach where we go out and share the gospel and pray for people. And these students had an amazing experience of God showing up in miraculous power. And I want you guys to hear what happened. So who wants to go first?
Yeah, I think Hope can go first.
Okay, so we went to Walmart and we split up. So Mr. Nick and Aunt Shelley went together and we went together. And Pasha passed a guy and he thought that we should pray for him. And he said, do you want any prayer? But all I heard was prayer. And then he started talking in Spanish and I thought he was fluent in Spanish. But then at the end he said, how do you say you're welcome in Spanish? And he messed up the first time he said it. So I thought he knew Spanish, but then we were walking and he's like, I wish I knew what you said.
Yeah, at that point I was very confused whenever we prayed over that person. I prayed over him. I thought I was praying in English. I was hearing English, and then I saw that Hope is very confused. So I asked her, what do you mean you didn't understand? So basically what happened, we approached this guy. I asked him, hello, how are you, in English? And then I asked him, do you speak English or Spanish? And he said that he speaks Spanish. So I decided to put my phrase that I know in Spanish, to put it into practice. And the phrase that I learned in Spanish over the last couple of weeks was necesita oración. So I asked him in Spanish, necesito oración, and I think he said yes. I'm assuming that he said yes. He said something in Spanish, so I put my hand on him and I prayed very simple prayer in English because I wanted him to at least understand a little bit. So I prayed very slowly over him that his body for his body to be healed, that the Holy Spirit comes, convicts his heart, and brings him to the understanding what does it mean to be born again. And I prayed over him very slow in English. I finished, and he's very thankful, and he's like tearing up a little bit. So I asked him, how do you say you're welcome in Spanish? And he tells me. I try to repeat it, and that's it, and we move on because I understand that he speaks Spanish. He will not understand me sharing the gospel in English, so that's why we move on. And that's when Hope said, like, I didn't understand anything that you said. And I told Hope, like, what do you mean? And I'm like, oh, you didn't understand necesita oración? And I start teaching Hope, like, what does it mean? That necesita oración means you need prayer. But then Hope said, like, no, I didn't understand anything that you said, except for how do you say you're welcome in Spanish. That's the only thing that she heard in English. So something amazing happened, something miraculous. Apparently, I was praying over him. I heard myself in English. I was thinking in English. But Hope and the person, they were hearing Spanish. So that's absolutely amazing. And before we could talk with Nick in the car,
yeah, so we were driving to Mount Dora, like way before we even went to Walmart, and I had said to him, I was like, man, wouldn't that be something if we just talked with someone that we couldn't, the language barrier, and the Holy Spirit just took over? And he's like, yeah, that'd be cool, like in Spanish, like as an example, he's like, in Spanish, I feel like we'd have to just start like speaking in Spanish, like he said, necesito oración, and the Holy Spirit would just take over. And we said this hours before even like this encounter happened, and then Holy Spirit delivered.
Wow. So the gentleman that only spoke Spanish and only understood Spanish, you spoke to him in one Spanish word, then you prayed for him what you thought was English, because you speak English and you thought you were praying for him in English, but you heard Spanish while he was praying in English, but you heard English while you thought you were praying in English. And apparently the gentleman heard Spanish because he's Spanish, and the Lord intervened miraculously so to make you speak Spanish. And you thought, this is amazing. In Acts chapter 2, we see the very same thing, that when the Holy Spirit came on the day of Pentecost, the believers were speaking in an unknown language, and the language that they were speaking in was actually interpreted by those people that were there in their own languages. This is a biblical miracle that you guys had witnessed and had been a part of, the same type of a biblical miracle that we read in Acts chapter 2. So this is amazing. Like, God is alive. He is working. Jesus is the same yesterday, today, and forever. And I just want to encourage everyone watching here that these are the types of things that you get to experience when you make disciples and go out and preach preach the gospel and do outreach, because when you step out in faith, believing that God is going to show up, he does. And I can't believe too, even Nick, you're talking about, you guys were talking about, wouldn't it be great if something like that happened, and then God actually set up a circumstance so that he could do it and it could happen. So I want to encourage all of you to believe for even more, believe for it to happen again, you know. That's awesome. That's amazing. So God bless you guys. Thanks for watching. Much love.